Welcome back to Old Folks Racing PS4, again in classic Oschersleben. Cavallo won the first race, followed by an excellent Darren Head with Simon Allen completing the podium. Michael Langley was 4th, Chris Russell 5th, and Diogo Silva 6th. We are seeing some new names here in the top 6, and that's great. Qualifying for the second race, so again the Allens on the first row, with Andy Bramall and Diogo Silva on the second, Jambo and Michael Langley on the third, followed by Darren Head, Frankie, Scott Davely and Chris Russell completing the top 10. Just like in the first race, we've got 14 drivers, and you remember in the first race what happened in the first corner, as we now see the lights out and some good starts back there, but everyone seems to be doing a nice job of keeping every car in one piece until the first corner. Let's see what happens. Certainly cannot be worse than the previous time, and it's actually much better. It's much better. Jambo got into a slight contact there with someone else. Otherwise, it was a pretty civilized first chicane, and clearly the old folks. Look at Kevin Allen's lead already from Simon Allen and Darren Head. Everyone seems to be in a different race, as Kev Allen has already checked out potentially for yet another victory. Darren Head and Simon Allen, just like in the first race, battling for second, with Simon here holding the position for now, but Darren probably has other ideas. And then there's like a massive pack of drivers, all pretty much in each other's tail. Andy Bramall 4th, Jambo 5th, Michael Langley 7th, Diogo Silva had a poor start, he's in 7th, Chris Russell in 8th, Frankie, Stuart Brand, Phil, Derek Talliard, Barry Evans, and Scott Davely has had some sort of problem because he is in 14th and last. Let's see where Scott can, what Scott can do over the 12-lap race. As we follow Michael Langley, who is in 6th place, following Jambo, and Andy Bramall is in 4th, and we're already seeing a nice little pack of wheel-to-wheel racing that is likely to last the entire distance. As we complete the first lap there, Michael taking a slightly different line through the last corner, slightly through the outside, but he's making himself vulnerable, because here comes Diogo Silva now in 7th place trying to get 6th. Will he make a move on Michael in the first corner? Not quite. Jambo, Jambo ran wide, or was that a connection problem? And Chris Russell and Diogo Silva have collided, and I think that was Chris actually trying to overtake Diogo on the outside, and didn't quite work there. Chris was doing a good job, but I think that must have some misunderstanding, as we see now 3 wide here for and someone has run wide. That's, I think, Stuart Brand. Diogo Silva makes a move on Scott Davely, on Phil, as we see all sorts of action as Diogo keeps his 7th place, but he lost time there momentarily because Chris Russell tried to go around the outside. We didn't really see who has made contact with whom, but I think probably we'll put that down as a racing incident between Chris Russell and Diogo Silva. But certain is that now Diogo Silva has Phil all over his mirrors and has completely lost touch there with Michael Langley. So Diogo now more in defensive mode more than attacking mode. Here, as we're still in the second lap here, Oschersleben, as we continue to see battles throughout the field. Here is Jambo now finishing the second lap. Andy Bramall continues to lock up quite frequently in his Porsche Caymen GT4. He's doing a good job there in 4th place, but clearly burning his tires. Almost you could do a barbecue with the temperature that he's building up in his tires, and that's the same exactly as we've seen in race 1. As Jambo now runs, well, he runs wide, but recovers in that 959 car. That looked like Jambo was having a few connection problems, because he basically did what's physically impossible, which is to really run almost straight into the first corner. There is the smoking Andy Bramall, who continues to smoke and puff around this Oschersleben circuit. Jambo there did the physically impossible. He completely outbraked himself in turn 1, but then managed to very swiftly recover and actually not lose any position, albeit he lost a lot of time to Andy Bramall. as we follow Darren Head. Darren is in third place. He, of course, finished second in the first race, which was his second podium in Old Folks Racing PS4. He, of course, has finished third in his second ever race in Laguna Seca. Ooh, there's a slight rally cross line. Will he avoid the spin? No, he won't. He won't avoid the spin. Oh, Andy Bramall has hit him, I believe, there at that chicane. So Andy is now facing the wrong way. Darren Head is in fifth, with some aero movable parts in his Porsche Cayman GT4. So drama at the front as Darren Head spins from third place and is collected by Andy Bramall. And here we have now Michael Langley on Jumbo. Jumbo is now into a podium position. Has been elevated to a podium position and again does the physically impossible by being in two different places at the same time. Clearly he has some sort of connection problems, or then the replay of this race, replay video is just mad, because Jumbo keeps out breaking himself in turn one, but then recovering as if nothing has happened as he continues to defend from Michael Langley. So this has now become the battle for third place, as Darren Head is in fifth. Diogo Silva is in sixth because he has yes, it was Andy Bramall that lost a lot of time. He's now sitting in 10th, so he's still in the points, but just. Diogo Silva and Phil continue to battle. Now Diogo has actually found himself some breathing space because he has found 3 seconds advantage over Phil. Frankie, who finished outside the points in the first race, is hoping to finish in the points this time. He's in 8th with Chris Russell and Andy Bramall, the two drivers that have been delayed by various incidents, now sitting 9th and 10th. As we see now a nice battle here with, oh, Michael Langley trying to make a move on Jumbo. That was a bit ambitious, but everyone just left each other room, and nicely done. And Michael shutting the door on Jumbo, and that's a nice move to get well, third place now effectively, as he puts himself into a podium position on what's likely to be his last Old Fox Racing appearance for a while. And of course he will be missed in this field. Clearly a very fast driver, also very entertaining in the commentary during the races. As he, of course, won already a race in the Nordschleife. So we'll miss Michael, and we hope he's going to be back soon with the Old Fox Racing PS4 on Friday nights. Now Jumbo has dropped to 4th, and he has now started to think about that. And here comes Chris Russell on Frankie. That was a good clean move, and in front of them Phil has run wide there in that slightly fast hairpin. That's really the beginning of a fast section that goes through basically 3 corners until you have another heavy braking point over here. And Phil is now thinking that Chris Russell probably has better pace than him, so he's starting to think about how to defend. Chris is in 8th place with now actually Scott Navely. Something has happened to Frankie. Frankie has dropped to 13th place. And I know that Frankie is not his real name, but I'm struggling to pronounce his real name properly, and Frankie sounds just so much easier. So I'm going to stick with this for a while, at least for this race, before I learn how to pronounce names properly, which is something that I really hate to pronounce them in the wrong way. But Frankie really has had a spin or something similar, because he has dropped from pretty much 9th place or 8th place to outside the points. Stuart Brand has had a more discreet appearance. He is now battling for 11. Barry Evans just outside the points after finishing 9th in his first ever race at Old Folks Racing PS4. We are already at the midpoint of this race, and actually we haven't seen this, and it's highly relevant, but again the cameras are so focused on this titanic battle in the midfield that we actually missed a move for the lead, as Simon Allen has actually taken the lead from Kev. Kev probably lost a little bit of time. He didn't really have such a big advantage as in the first race. So even a small mistake meant that he could have lost the lead with that. He's now sitting in second, 1.8 seconds behind Simon. Simon has an opportunity here to recover some ground lost in the first race. Here comes Darren Head, Jumbo on Darren Head. They are battling, and clearly you can see that this always happens when you try to overtake in this corner. It has happened to Jumbo in race 1, it has happened to Jumbo in race 2 as well. That inside line is just very, very poisonous, and Jumbo, he hasn't lost a lot of time because he's still sitting in 6th, but now Diogo Silva has actually gained the place to be in 4th. As we can see here, the battle for the lead in that 98, it's Cavallan, and he's not happy with 2nd place. He's going for it, he's going for the lead, and he's putting pressure on Simon Allen, and let's see for how long Simon is able to resist the pressure. We still have quite a long way to go. They just finished the 6th lap out of 12, so there's another 6 laps to go still. As the battle for victory is not over yet here at Oschersleben, and Cavallan has run wide. He has run wide. It looked a bit like a Joker lap there, Rallycross Joker lap if we were in Rallycross mode. Only resulted in him losing more time, and now he has lost 5 seconds to Simon, and that's starting to be a bit trickier to recover, of course, if Simon makes no mistakes, which is no certainty whatsoever, because over and over again we have seen that in the past. Simon building a comfortable lead. He's certainly an incredibly fast driver, but he sometimes does make these annoying mistakes that cost victories and points, and that's probably one of the reasons why Kev is still in the lead of this championship. But we continue to follow the battle for the lead, because now from 5 seconds Cavallan has already reduced a second in less than a lap, so definitely we have maybe in a couple of laps the battle for the lead is going to be again going on. Let's try to follow that difference, that time difference from time to time. Here comes Andy Bramall, the smoking man of Oschersleben. Continues to lock up consistently across the track, as he is now sitting in 8th, so he has recovered the position from Phil, who's now in 9th. Diogo Silva is in 5th. He's sitting in a sandwich there between Michael Langley and Jumbo, with Darren Head actually not far ahead. So Michael is actually also now Michael has dropped to 4th, in fact. Sorry, so many things happening that I keep forgetting where every driver was. Michael Langley, of course, was in a podium position just a minute ago, and he has made a mistake or lost some time or was overtaken by Darren, but Darren is back in 3rd. He hasn't checked out so much from Michael, so now we have a nice 3-4-5 there, as Andy Bramall continues to smoke. I mean, if we had a smoking ban, he would actually not be driving here today, as he continues to barbecue the tires of that Porsche Cayman GT4 around Oschersleben. Chris Russell is in 7th, and now starting to think that Andy Bramall is behind him and that he should start defending his position. Stuart Brand now in 11th has gone past Barry Evans. We just saw that battle basically a couple of laps ago, so Stuart doing a good job, now putting pressure on Scott Davely. So this is the battle for the last championship point, as Stuart is trying to get it and Scott is trying to defend it. Scott Davely, of course, very consistent driver here in Oschersleben and generally in every racetrack, and of course he often is at the back end of the top 10, but normally he is always in the points, even in races that have more than 10 drivers. He is always there around 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th place. So clearly consistency is the name of the game, and clearly is the whole point. Even in a 12-lap race, it's there's no point if you are really fast but just keep making mistakes, and Scott certainly has has done a very consistent race yet again. Nice battle here developing, not so much with Darren Head, that has actually checked out a little bit from Michael Langley, a couple of seconds, but here is a combination of Michael Langley, Diogo Silva, and a recovering Jambo. Jambo has a very good car here, very good pace. Of course, he qualified very well for both races. A shame that he was at the epicenter of that carnage in race 1 that completely delayed him. But now we are seeing a nice battle between these three, and I'm actually quite very much looking forward, because these are all very exciting drivers in different ways. Michael Langley is a very, very fast driver that rarely makes mistakes. Diogo Silva is trying to hang on in there. I mean, he's always there or thereabouts, even with combos that he doesn't like. He's always Mr. Consistency as well. And Jambo perhaps a bit wilder, but probably I wouldn't be surprised if Jambo on the pure one-lap pace is actually the faster of these three drivers, as he continues to defy physics there in the first chicane with that distinctive yellow Porsche. No one else has chosen this Volkswagen Beetle type of livery, as Jambo is clearly very identifiable here today, and boy did he need to be identified in race 1, because he was on top of other drivers, really defying physics in another way in race 1. Diogo is now getting more interested in Michael's position, so he's starting to put a little bit more pressure, because also we are already in lap 10, so Diogo really is going to run out of time here if he wants still to battle for this 4th position. And of course he knows that Jambo probably is a little bit faster on pure pace, so he's not going to want to stay behind Michael if he can make a move. He was trying to make a move here on the back straight, didn't really work, and he's now very wary of making a move here for good reasons, as actually they are now lapping a back marker, and Michael Langley has spun. Michael Langley has spun and almost collected Diogo. Well done to Diogo Silva for avoiding a crash there and avoiding losing time. Of course, he had to really go hard on the brakes, but so did Jambo actually. So I thought that Jambo could have used this to try to maneuver himself into 2 positions in one move, but actually that didn't happen. And now Diogo is in 4th, which is not a bad position at all for him. In this highly competitive, as he runs a little bit wide on the first chicane, and Jambo is right behind him. This is not over by any means, even if we only have a couple of laps to go in this race. Jambo has spun. Jambo has spun on his own, pressed the reset button. He has been very, very handy with the reset button in this Oschersleben weekend, but Jambo has spun. That probably has given Diogo a little bit of a cushion in terms of at least some breathing space to not have that yellow machine just in your mirrors all the time. Positions seem to be a bit more stable. Michael Langley has actually managed to recover 5th with that spin from Jambo. Let's see if Michael can go after Diogo. We only have 2 laps to go, but it's only 4 seconds, and it only takes a couple of mistakes to lose more than 4 seconds, as we continue to see now the battle for the last championship point continues, just as it was a couple of laps ago, to be Scott Davely bravely defending from Stuart Brand. Stuart really wants that point, but I wonder if he also thinks that he needs to do something crazy to get it, because he's been sitting behind Scott for a couple of laps now, and I think it's going to be an all or nothing type of move, as we already in the last lap of the race for the leader, who is Simon Allen, of course. But look at this, it's only a couple of tenths of a second between the first 2, and what is our cameraman doing? I'm sure that Michael Langley is very exciting to watch, but here is the battle for the lead in the last lap, as we see Simon Allen trying to defend from Kev, and this is what we wanted to see, a battle for victory. We didn't have it in race 1 because Kev had such a commanding lead, but now we have it in race 2. Only a few corners to go, and Simon Allen is going to win again, or is he? Because Kev Allen is right behind, but not really in a position to make a move, as we now have side-by-side cameras. This is great video production. Congratulations, well done, Andy Bramall. How come we didn't have this before? But we have a race for the win in the last few corners, as we see now. Also, Chris Russell making a move on Andy Bramall, or I think it was Andy that in fact was. And Simon makes a mistake! Simon makes a mistake! Oh dear, oh dear! With only a handful of corners to go, what has happened to Simon Allen? This is a total disaster! Disaster drama here at Classic Oschersleben as Kev Allen comes to take the checkered flag and yet another victory, his 14th of the season. Simon Allen, what have you done? He has completely thrown away a victory that would be so helpful, and oh dear, and here is a crash by Darren Head, but it is just celebration, I think, not an actual crash. Diogo Silva finishes 4th, nicely done from also Michael Langley in 5th. Jambo is in finished in 6th. Chris Russell in 7th, and I think Andy Bramall has lost some time on the last lap. Maybe it was a move that didn't quite work. In any case, Andy Bramall has had a trying race here in 8th. 9th is Scott Davely, 10th is Phil. And what happened to Stuart Brand? Stuart has finished 11th, but something must have happened to Phil because he was in 9th and now he has dropped to 10th in the last lap. Stuart Brand just outside the points. And in 12th place is Barry Evans with Dirk Talliard in 13th. Confirmation of a memorable Oschersleben weekend here with Kev Allen ending up with both victories, and really the title battle continues to be alive, but just with 45 points separating the top two. Diogo Silva 536, Andy Booth, who we expect to be back soon, is 4th with 487. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.